Hello, Danusia here, and welcome to today's episode. I'm thrilled to be joined by Yvadney Davis. We'll be talking about fashion and exploring how our personal style can be an expression, and is an expression, of who we are. Yvadney's passion for helping people discover their unique style is honestly contagious. Grab a cuppa, settle in, and let's get started with my first question to Yvadney. Do you veer towards more glamour than you do practical, or where do you sit on that?
I mix it together because I work from home, but I'm a strong advocate for getting dressed to work, even if you are staying in your house all day or just going to the school gate. So what I like to do is if I have a pair of, like jogger bottoms on or elasticated waists, they're in a really great colour or a finish or a detail. I have some really fun vintage jumpers that I'll throw on when I'm at my desk. I love wearing pink lipstick and just fun things to ground me in that sense of expression, because it's very easy to kind of roll out of bed in your pajamas in front of the computers and stay there all day. But I actually think that, what you choose to wear is such a big expression of who you are, and it completely changes your mindset for the day. So I'm always very practical and very comfortable, but I like a flash of metallic or a bit of a sequin here or there.
I really love that, because that practicality with that expression of individuality and your pizzazz, it sounds like there's that grounding of who you are, but that attention to detail sounds really important.
It is. I live in the suburbs, but I'm creating content that, as a stylist, that is directional. There are many times when I will spend 2 weeks within, my home or the surrounding area, and those kind of additional splashes of colour and my style ground me in, my career and what excites me. So it makes things a bit more directional.
What does excite you?
Oh, just life. Life excites me. Creation, just the beauty in everything is so exciting. The potential of everything. I'm one of those people, I will put my headphones on and I will just sit on the tube or go to a cafe, and I love watching people. I love looking at what they wear. I love how they interact. Just life. I think life is wonderful. And music.
Yeah. What really comes to mind as you're speaking is the vibrancy of you, both in terms of how you describe your clothes, but also the vibrancy of what you really get excited by. And an intensity, but I don't mean in a kind of exacting, hard way and a high maintenance way. I mean a zest for life.
Yeah, definitely. I think some people may find it grating, but I've always been that kind of Pollyanna personality. I just see the good and the potential in everything. So I generally find most situations and people really exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that would be seen as Pollyanna-ish. So when you're people watching, what are the themes that you see? Do you look and go, oh, she's one of those kinds of women, a certain kind of look, because we're talking about an expression of ourselves, aren't we? So are there ways that you can get a little window in on people?
Yeah, I definitely can see certain nuances, even if it's, if I'm near the bank on the central line and someone is in, a skirt suit, but I look down and there's something about the heel on their shoe that is a little bit fierce, or their handbag, or their choice of lipstick, or the way they tie their scarf, things like that will point to that kind of strength of personality. Yeah. I always love the punk, not punks as in punk rockers, but that element of rebellion in, whether you are that person in the city or the teenager or the retired man who's, rocking a pair of DMs. All of these things point to that kind of love of expression and confidence.
Yeah, that spirit that's actually sitting in the tiny detail, or even it could be shouting at you, but it's often the people that are seemingly ordinary, isn't it? That they're towing the line of the suit, but then you see, look at that little detail.
Yeah,
exactly. I see those cufflinks that have some profanity on them. Yeah. And you're like, exactly. Do you work with teenagers?
Yes, often. I love working with teenagers.
Yeah. What is it that we seem to lose as adults that teenagers have, if anything? Do we lose anything? Because we seem to just get a bit duller.
Yeah. Is it just the reality of life? Because I speak to teenagers and they're so sort of like, anything can happen and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I really think this, and you're listening to them. I really love talking with them about their style and the things they're passionate about. And then I suppose just life and the realities of it. Disappointments come that may not be so frequent as a teenager. And I think there's that sense of being untouchable. I've done a couple of shoots now with some teen boys that are in a parkour group, and I've stood and watched them jump across rooftops and thought I would be sick watching them do that. For them, that was nothing. It was just a fearlessness. It's just, almost invincible. It's exciting. The world literally belongs to them.
How do we, as mothers and as ambitious working women, how do we slay our style and be dangerous?
I think it's really important that women, mothers, no matter, if you're in your 50s and 60s, you're 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, whether you have lumps and bumps and all over the place or whatever it is, that you just slay, that you just push yourself, you experiment, and you revisit your wardrobe and look at new combinations. And when I say slay, I am quite bold in how I dress. That's my style. For some people, it might be that their style is always wearing beautiful white shirts.
Yes, that would be slaying, wouldn't it?
Trousers. That's slaying because it makes you feel fabulous and amazing. It's about finding your own way, because I think what has happened, certainly with mum influencers and mum style influencers, is this idea that if you don't have that leopard print maxi dress, for example.
Oh God, not the famous leopard print. Yeah, yes.
The only way to be stylish or to slay is to look like everyone else.
Oh, no,
I think it's really important. I couldn't imagine anything worse for me. It's about finding out who you are, what you like, trying out new things, and then taking them away. I think it's inappropriate or age appropriate. Just do whatever makes you feel amazing.
Well, isn't that good that actually it's about experimentation? And it sounds like that actually when we find what our version of slay is, then we're closer to ourselves, obviously. And that's the point.
And this is why it's important to find out who you are, because when you know who you are, you'll have a wardrobe that has things that you can literally grab and put on and know that you'll look great. But I know when I pick something out of my wardrobe, it will be great because I choose well.
How did you discover to choose well for yourself?
It's interesting. Motherhood completely changed how I approach style. I gave birth in a room in front of loads of people who I'd never seen. They saw my vagina and my son come out. And I was like, if I could do that, I can dress however I want. I don't care. I'm amazing. And also looking at all of these clothes that I had bought once, maybe never worn, or worn a couple of times, it was really trend-led, that I was getting rid of, and realizing that I kept going back to the same things. And just, it was really experimenting and looking at what worked with my body and what made me happy. So I realized just how much I was wasting.
Yes, yeah. And so what suited your body and what made you happy became more important than following the trends that really might suit other people.
Yeah, basically. And just focusing on what I like.
Yeah, sounds like a big project in self-love.
Yeah, it's definitely been a massive project in self-love and understanding who I am and what I want and what I value and my confidence levels and all sorts of things.
Fascinating. So how do you approach style with your kids? I'm really curious about this.
It's interesting because I am a kids fashion stylist, and I think it's really important that they develop their own sense of style. So, and they wear things. So if it is a designer dress, I won't save it for best. I let my daughter wear it and I let her play. I heard of a mum who dressed her daughter only in designer clothes, and therefore her daughter wasn't allowed to eat anything with red food dye in it. So no pastels, no beans. I just think that's great. I want my kids to be kids and to develop their own sense of style. I want them to feel confident in a way that I wasn't because of being insecure.
I think that's really important, isn't it? So I've noticed Serafina, my girl triplet, she's got some really pretty things and very girly stuff. Now, she also has obviously two brother triplets. And she's suddenly started wearing their shorts, and she's that bit smaller than them, so she can wear what they had last year. And it's really interesting because she talked to me about how these clothes make her feel better, these boys' clothes. And I've been thinking about the straight jackets that we, the style that female style is. And, and it kind of bothers me a lot, actually. Yeah,
it's interesting. My daughter did the same thing the other day. She spent the whole day running around in her brother's old clothes. She's very comfortable in them. For the most part, girls are just as rough and tumble as boys are. And if you look back on the clothes, like I'm an 80s baby, the clothes were much more gender neutral there. Like advertising certainly was. The girl advert had a girl in a pair of dungarees and a t-shirt.
Yep, I agree.
And that's how I was dressed. It's interesting. One of my style icons is Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, yes.
Because I think she just changed everything for women. Like I can't look at any photograph of her and not want everything that she wore in it. And she, in the 30s, she did the masculine, feminine. She did it all.
Well, she played, didn't she? She played with the fluidity of how to express herself. And I think that's, coming round full circle, really, which is that to slay it, we need to experiment with who we might be in different times. What brings out different parts of us?
There are so many different facets to us, which is what I was saying. I spend the day gardening, listening to the bird, listening to jazz, feeling really like mellow and chilled and earthy. And then, on the flip side, I'll be dressed up with a green wig for mums that rave and latex. There was just, I want kaftans and I want it all. That's just me, maybe.
You're not on your own. You're not.
There are so many doors to us. And it's okay to open them and say, yeah, this is still me.
And on that note, thank you so much for this conversation. There are indeed so many doors to us, and why not open them? Yeah. Thank you, Yvadney. This was beautiful. Thank you. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly inspired to revamp my wardrobe and embrace my individuality even more. Remember, wearing clothes can be about having fun, experimenting, and discovering what makes you feel truly confident and fabulous. Thanks for listening. Till next time, keep thinking and loving. Take care, everyone.